Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the March 18th Town Plan and Zoning Commission meeting. Chairman Parenti is out of town, as is Commissioner Cornell, so I will be chairing the meeting. I'll ask those around the table to please introduce themselves.
Tom Tarenti.
Paul Kaplan.
Jenny Bowser, Recording Secretary.
Bonnie Syack, Court Reporter.
Jack Demerjen, Zoning Administrator.
Thank you. The first item on our agenda will be the review of our March 4th, 2025 minutes. Has everybody had a chance to read those?
I have no comments.
Anything, Paul? Yep, I had no edits, so we can entertain a motion.
Move to accept the minutes for March 4th, 2025 meeting as submitted.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carries. Second item, old business. Does anybody have old business?
No.
Okay, we'll move on to new business. Okay, and then to the very exciting report of Jack, the zoning enforcement officer.
Very brief, but exciting.
Okay,
Nope, just wanted to let everybody know, first off, apologies for missing last meeting. I was severely under the weather. April 2nd workshop, that legal notice is going to go out tomorrow. It sounds like we are going to have some good interest for that workshop, so I'm excited to get that going. Comments from BFJ, you've gotten a lot of emails from me in the last couple weeks with our draft chapters. I know they went over that at the last meeting. Suzanne just wanted to let me remind you guys that Thursday is going to be the last day that they're going to be looking for revisions for those.
Okay.
So if for any reason you guys haven't looked them over
I
or.
think the only one we didn't go over last one was 2 and 10.
Yeah,
that
it
you
was
sent
economic
us.
development, and then we got a revised demographics
Yeah,
chapter,
two.
which I emailed out, I think, two revised chapters.
No, I meant chapter 2.
Oh, chapter 2,
Yeah.
yes. One we never got, the economic development side,
Yeah.
which we have since gotten. Then they had a revision for the demographics because they got some information from the Board of Ed.
Oh, okay.
So they updated those numbers. But like I said, last deadline is Thursday, so if anybody has anything to say, be sure to let me or them know.
and we had spoken, they updated that map with the parcel that was
Yes, they did. Yep,
misclassified.
they
Okay.
did, yes. But do a once-over on that, too. They're always, I obviously looked at it, I gave them a couple of revisions for just properties I think that, were just wrong. They clicked on the wrong one. But if for any reason you see the map, I think that map is also in chapter 2, 1 or 2. Let them know if there's any inconsistencies that you guys see. The more eyes, the better.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't have anything else for tonight.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to our public hearings. We have a continuation from our last meeting, an application for special exception permit or use and site plan application submitted by DTB Orange LLC for property known as 112 Boston Post Road for a 7-brew drive-through coffee establishment. So if the applicant would like to come to the podium, please, name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Marcus Puddock. I'm a civil engineer and land surveyor at Godfrey Hoffman Hodge at 26 Broadway in North Haven.
Could you spell your last name, please?
Puttock.
Thank you so much.
Yep. So there were a couple of, I'll start with a couple of or at least the one outstanding item that I can think of off the top of my head was questions about the landscape beds and whether there would be irrigation, and both of the landscape beds that are associated specifically with this building, with the drive-through, are over the 180 square feet, and therefore will both be irrigated as is required. Some other outstanding items was some question about this northerly or southerly driveway, I guess we'd say, the driveway to Bull Hill Lane, and comments from DOT. We did receive comments from DOT, and they were forwarded to Jack as well. I would call them somewhat limited based on my experience with DOT's comments. As I had said, and when I had spoken with them in person, they wanted us to look at including an island in this driveway to strongly discourage folks from turning left in. And so we've realigned this, and it's not written in stone yet. We haven't resubmitted it to DOT with this alignment yet. But we believe this would satisfy their comments and their requests. The reason we aligned it the way we did, we don't want this, there's a catch basin just north of our driveway that we don't want to create a situation where cars are always driving directly over the catch basin. So, in other words, we don't want to put a driveway right through the middle of a catch basin. This one?
Oh, yeah, you mind just, thank you.
And so we maintain the existing alignment of this northerly edge of our driveway, making it slightly wider as DOT had requested, making both drive aisles each 11 feet, where they were 10, creating an island in the middle that forces folks to really take only a right and just strongly discourage turning left across Bull Hill Lane and making it much more difficult for folks to turn left in from Bull Hill Lane as well.
I've forgotten your first name, I'm so sorry.
Marcus.
Marcus. So I'm coming north on Bull Hill Lane, and and you're discouraging me from making the left into which I'm still trying to get my head around. There's going to be an in and out there because it seems really tight, although I understand 11 feet is fine. How are you going to discourage that?
It's just through the alignment and signage that says "Do not enter." There isn't any. There isn't. Yeah, there isn't really any way of physically stopping someone from making that maneuver. We have several locations that I can think of off the top of my head on state roads where no matter what you do, the people will go around a barrier like 34 and still, do it wrong.
All right.
There's nothing you could do about that. If it's fairly clear that it's a right-in only, the vast majority of folks will obey the traffic pattern, especially if there is a lot of traffic. I find people tend to not obey traffic patterns when there's no other cars around, because it's quicker. And
In your experience, do you think that, because obviously, I think all of us have been there a number of times. I usually go to Route 1 to get out.
I think most people will.
Okay.
Yes, unless they happen to be going, towards West Haven on Bull Hill Lane. If that's the direction they're going, then certainly you would jump out there.
Yeah.
So I think the only, for me, the one difficult maneuver, the one difficult way to get into this plaza, and it's that way now, and it will continue to be that way, is if you happen to be coming north on Bull Hill Lane. Because then you have to turn left onto Route 1 and left into the plaza, and that's
Crossing Route
not
1.
not the easiest, no matter what, but
I don't
We-
believe
we're
it
not
is that way
created-
now, though, Marcus. If you're coming north down Bull Hill Lane, can't you take a left into that? Curb cut?
you can, there isn't,
It's not a one-way?
It's undefined as of now. There isn't a good traffic pattern on it. It doesn't have a middle median, so it's undefined whether it's an in and out or.
There's no arrows
it's just a-
painted one
That's
this
right.
way,
It's
one that
just
way.
it's just a driveway, so people use it as they wish. We're trying to improve that scenario.
There's barely pavement,
Yeah.
let alone signage.
Right.
We're definitely improve that scenario.
Well, now, because I've done a few trips there since our last meeting. If you notice, currently, all the dumpsters of the current businesses
Yeah.
are, if you're driving to exit, they're on the left. They're all
Okay.
on the left, and
Yep.
sometimes the delivery cars are on the right, near a
Yep.
chain link fence. is there any way to relocate your dumpster so it's on the same side? On the building side?
It wouldn't be within an enclosure then, and if, we'd have to put it like behind the other buildings, which we'd have to ask the landlord
Okay.
if they'd be all right with
I just
that.
know if for safety purposes, since they're all there, maybe they should all move to the other side. We'll just look for some consistency on the site. And then I'd spoken to the fire marshal, I think Commissioner Cornell wanted the striping removed for that fire lane so that people didn't,
Yes.
so they could, you have
Yes.
two-way traffic
Yeah.
easily.
We've
But
removed.
the fire marshal would like the striping, or Jack, we spoke,
Yeah,
yeah.
yes.
So I haven't told Commissioner Cornell, but we do need to keep the striping on.
Okay.
And we all know that people can drive over it, and, you know.
It creates a visual impairment, but it does allow for both the fire and police to come and say, well, clearly you can't park here,
Right.
look at the striping.
Right,
So
so that was.
we,
yeah,
we're
another
happy,
edit,
we're
sorry.
happy to,
Put it back on.
we're happy to, it's easy to put back on. It's not, it's just frozen, it's not erased. Those were the bulk of what I took away from our last meeting that was still remaining to be discussed. I'm happy to, if there are additional questions or
Did we,
comments that we wanted
review the
to-
lighting plan? Could you take us through that it complies? Please.
So with our lighting plan, there is an existing pole light in the middle of, in the middle of the existing parking. So we are sliding it over slightly closer to the boundary line and updating the head on it so that we have enough lighting, particularly in our entrance driveways. Then that is the only pole-mounted light that obviously will put a cutoff on it. It also, because of the trees along that property line and where it's located, the trees will cut off most of that light from the road specifically. And then the building itself, under the canopy, has downlights, so those only face down and illuminate what's under the canopy. There's very little spill from beyond the canopy area. Especially, they're only mounted at 9 feet, so they're reasonably low, so they don't create a whole lot of spill everywhere else.
Marcus, are these bright fascia lights, if you will?
So
Are they in
the-
fact
the-
lights, or?
They are. So they do have, many of the buildings, and it is part of their branding, they do have that strip lighting on them. It's not permitted in every town, and so if it's permitted, we absolutely would want it, but if it's not permitted, then we
I
would.
think lighting-wise, it would be less, it's more of a signage problem. In our signage regs, we're very specific about LEDs not being allowed. So if that's what these are, and there is an option to remove I know these are prefab, structures.
Yeah.
If there's an option to remove those, I think in orange, that would be required per our sign regulations.
Is that a sign?
It's not assigned, but our sign regulations sort of cover this type of lighting
It's a-
more so than our actually,
'Cause
because it's not meant to illuminate the parking lot for safety reasons. It's kind of, it's more of a marketing.
Yeah, no question.
Yes.
Look at it, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna consider that to be a sign. Okay.
Well, I don't, not so much a sign, but language in our signage regulations would prevent that architectural element from being in orange.
Because, yeah, I don't recall another building that looks like that.
I remember discussing it, meaning the neon and.
Right.
I don't know if we said the word we said the word LEDs?
LED signs, neon lighting, accents and signs where the source of light is visible are prohibited. So,
Yep.
yeah.
All right, so you said in some towns it's allowed and some not, so if we determine it's not,
If it's not permitted here,
Then
then
it's-
obviously
okay.
we can't do it, right?
Yep.
You know, obviously, we would very much like our buildings to be consistent, and we'd like to have it, but if it's just straight not permitted, then it's not permitted, and, you know, we'll have to come up with another plan.
The reason I brought it up, Marcus, was
Yeah.
the building itself has pretty tasteful-looking earth tones. And then
Yes.
when you see this neon,
Yes,
it just kind of hits you in the head. It's
yes,
a
you
hell of
can't
a
see, you
diversion.
can't see the tasteful earth tones at night. And it gets dark early here in the winter.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we addressed that, the striping. So you're gonna repave all of your area? Your,
Certainly, the gray.
The gray.
The gray in there.
It's all new
Is
asphalt.
our intent
Yep.
to.
Propose
at
new
least-
pavement,
Yes.
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
And mostly because it's all gonna get tore up between taking down the building and relocating things, moving things around. There's some areas there that aren't paved now, but are building and whatnot, so a patchwork doesn't necessarily work. So, but we are not proposing repaving the
Oh, I
entire
know.
site.
I know, that never-
That may or may not happen, but that's not part of.
right.
Tell the
This-
landlord to come
this-
chat with me,
this-
we'd love to see
Yes,
it happen.
yeah.
Well-
You've seen it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why
Yes,
he doesn't want to
yes.
improve
Well,
it.
he may or may not. That's not part of our proposal to you this evening for consideration. He has indicated to me that he does want to, he wants to see this go through so that he can improve that plaza and make it, make it a nicer plaza for all the other tenants, and he feels that this will really help revitalize that whole plaza, so.
That would be good.
That's our hope.
And your busy prime time, I think you said was 7 to 9 AM?
Yes.
Okay, because what I've noticed, those other businesses are not really online at that hour.
No.
So the site is, from their business, is very quiet, so there might be some nice complementary uses
Yes.
and traffic flow, but,
Yeah, I think the only issues I had on the, kind of the weekends, where there's a little bit more activity, especially in the morning hours. But they're not making it any worse. I mean, the traffic
Yeah.
pattern there
It's
is
what
just
it is.
different. It is what it is.
yeah.
That's what we're hoping to take advantage of.
Right.
We'll get them caffeinated so they don't, so they're good and awake while they're driving, paying attention.
Okay, do we have all the sign-offs?
We do,
from
yep.
Everybody, okay.
Department heads have all signed off.
Are
I
there-
know last meeting you guys talked about Jamie's comments, but, it was more of just comments for him making everything on his code was met, maneuverability, anything on the fire side was kosher. Yep.
Yeah, in fact, if they put you were mentioning putting the dumpster in the back, does that affect anything at all with regard to the maneuverability?
No, I think if they were to make that change, it'd probably be a good idea to put that revision in front of them and, for a quick look and make sure it doesn't change anything. I know the health department does ask all applicants to enclose their dumpster spaces.
You might be the only one doing it back there.
Yeah.
Right.
And so be it. We
Could start a nice
comply
trend.
with
Yes.
the, and I think all of the Seven Brews have all of the ones we've done and proposed have a dumpster enclosure. It's very much branded the same as the building and whatnot, so it's clear that it's part of
Of your development.
our development. I think it's better to have it in
Mhm.
a enclosed space.
Are there any other questions? Anyone in the audience would like to comment on the application?
These are the Seven Brew folk.
Okay. Four?
The owners, yeah, all four.
Four of the seven.
Yeah, they're the four.
Well, because the two other commission members aren't here, I was
Mhm.
leaning towards keeping the public hearing open so that all 5 could vote at our next meeting.
I-
It's just a
I'm
couple.
not gonna- I'm not
I
gonna
offer any
object.
questions,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, they might want to, I'll have to tell Kevin about the striping, that's just the way that went, and just to give them an opportunity to comment further, and then we'll take a vote. We'll close the public hearing and then vote at the next meeting.
Okay. We have the timeline is okay?
Correct, yep, timeline, we are all set. If for any reason, at the next meeting, we wanted to prolong it then we'd be in the, yeah, then we'd be in the area of an extension. But as for right now, we are
Okay.
good to go.
And what date is that meeting?
That would be,
April 1st.
It's April 1st?
yep,
Okay.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Judy, you didn't want to keep the public hearing open?
Yes, we are.
Just-
We are,
We are
yeah.
keeping it open, yes, yep. Okay, so we'll move on to our second public hearing, which again is continued from our last meeting. And it is to consider enacting regulations for smoke shops, tobacco stores, and/or vape shops. So we created a moratorium to study this issue. Our options are to do nothing, prohibit, or regulate further. So we're in the process of getting information from those folks that are interested in the topic, experts, police, SROs. And we have more information tonight submitted in our packets. If everyone's had a chance to look at them, I don't know that we have
that
anyone.
might be the same information from last time. We
Okay.
just attached them to the minutes, just so if people do look at them or. they,
Attachment A?
Yeah, they have their
Okay.
references.
letters that were submitted.
The ones you sent out, right, Jenny?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I did.
And I have requested, the fire marshal, I've let the other, department heads
heads.
know. If they have anything, to say about this, any input, please let me know. I know we heard from the, police end of things, but as of then, I have not received anything else. Yes, you can leave it right on the table. Thank you, Rohan, appreciate it.
So does anyone have comments on that? We don't have anyone in the audience. The individuals that were here last time addressing us are not here this evening.
I have not received any additional correspondence.
And I would suggest we keep this public hearing open also, so that Kevin and Ozzy have an opportunity to weigh in, and then,
That's fine with me,
okay.
okay. But I don't see why we wouldn't, but, the moratorium is one of the ways we could go.
Well, we have one now.
Right.
So it means it's, nobody can apply, nobody can come in.
How long does that last for?
That's a 6-month moratorium. And I guess I should have mentioned this as well. I gave everybody a copy of the current smoke/vape shops that we have in
Yeah.
town.
Yeah, so
This
there are
is-
8.
Yeah, this is excluding convenience stores, gas stations. These are just the true stores dedicated to these products.
Mm-hmm.
And I counted 8 of them up and down, all pretty much on the post road. So, just so we have
More of
that
these
when
than
the.
gyms.
Just so we have that when the time comes, but we might want to leave this one open. Yeah, and this was, it was considered, enactment to amend the regs. Obviously, we don't have any language right now. So once we get our, consensus, we could close this and then have Vinnie draft up language for us and then kind of start another process through that.
Where are we in the moratorium right now?
Like
month?
in? Yeah, I'd say about a
or so,
month.
so we have plenty
Yeah.
of time.
All right, good.
Or if, I guess we could keep this open. I mean, it's not like there's an applicant here that we have to ask for an extension if this goes over.
This was our
Yeah, we're gonna-
initiative.
yeah, this is-
Right,
yeah.
so I guess we could close the public hearing.
There's no reason to, right?
There's certainly no reason to tonight. I'm
Right.
just trying to think of, once we do draft language, obviously, there's a review period for the regional planning authorities and everything. So we just want to make sure we're moving on it. But if we were to close this at the next meeting, I don't think we'd have any reason to think we'd be butting up against our timeframe.
Good.
Obviously, give Vinnie some time to write up the language, but.
Right, but if the commission decide to prohibit, then there's no
Prohibit-
language that has to be written.
Prohibit makes it
That's-
pretty easy, yeah, I think the special permit, well, we still would want that definition. Because what is the definition of a smoke shop? We got the West Haven and Milford language. Off the top of my head, Milford went with what area or what percentage of their floor space in their shop is dedicated to these products. I think for them, if they exceeded 20%, like even a convenience store, They are now a smoke shop. How do we want to go about that? That's a good question. So I think the definition, no matter which direction we go, is going to be important for us to establish. But as far as tonight, I think we're where we are.
Okay,
Okay,
that's it.
that's all for us. So we will keep that public hearing open as well. Is there any more business to come before the commission?
I don't believe so, Madam Chairwoman.
Move to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Once
Thanks.
again.